Hello, and welcome movie fans to a very special Minisode of Remove Film from Tray. It's just me and Count.
Hey everyone, it's me, Count. Happy 2024. First podcast in the new year. Not to date it, but we're dating it because, you know, it's cool to date things sometimes.
Right. Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes you got to.
Yeah, we are. It's a mark of a new year, right? So this is officially the second year of Remove Film from Tray.
I didn't think about it that way. Yeah,
entering. Why, you know, I'm marking it.
Is this actually episode 23 or is it episode 22?
I don't know.
Did I, for some reason, advance an extra number? I don't.
You have some sort of.
I'm having a existential crisis about this.
No, it's 23. 22 was Christmas.
Thank you. Okay. So it's been, you know, we've had the holidays. Count's got some puppies. Are you expecting any puppy action on the mic?
Hopefully not. They're in another room, in a quieter room, so unless they're let out.
Did you put on puppy TV for them?
Yeah, put on the birds on the laptop.
Yeah. Raptor's been busy, a little distant. He's probably going to be upset we're going over his head on this, but still want to do his top 10, 20, 30, however many. You know, Raptor will be back.
Raptor, we love you. You're welcome back anytime. We just watched a bunch of weird shit, and Mortis said, let's talk about it. Do you want to do an episode our usual time on Fridays tomorrow? I said, yeah.
Yeah, we're recording this at noon on Friday on a Tuesday. So.
Because I can't read.
You wouldn't have liked these movies anyway.
Yeah.
But first, our traditional catch-up with Puppet Master the game.
Boy howdy.
If this is where you come to for Puppet Master the game news, maybe find a new source. Demonic toys are out. They have released the demonic toys as a new faction into Puppet Master the game. We have not really played it yet, but they're in there.
No, we both played separately, but not together yet.
There's a new mode that takes way too long. Like it's puppets versus toys, and you have to get like 100 kills.
I still played before the bug was fixed, so it was still up to like what 300 or 500.
I feel like I don't know. I think Thief, the old 3v1 mode is the way to play, but
that is the best mode.
But now you can have Baby Oopsie in there, and he talks and he cusses, and
I didn't
he
get to
shits
play
his
as
pants.
the demonic toys.
Yeah, me either. The match I was in, like, it was totems versus toys, and I was on totems, so.
Yeah, it kept putting me on puppets, and then there was, like, only one other match, and I got a puppet, and then I closed the game. It was running very laggy for me, Puppet Master, the game developers. I don't know if that was a connection issue on my end, or what.
Too many toys.
Maybe.
In the match.
The toys were very laggy. There's a giant weird bear. We'll talk about it more if we ever play it. I don't know.
It would be nice to play it.
Yeah.
Get Cloudy back in there.
Group together.
Slushy will be back in America soon. So, who knows?
Yeah. Maybe we'll have a little Puppet Master the game session. Folks, it's free. Listeners out there, it's free on Steam. All these updates are free. That's nice of them to do. Thank you, developers.
Try it out. So, jumping back in time, before the new year, before Christmas, friend of the show, MDB100, had a little Christmas show on Twitch, little mini marathon of insane Christmas movies. We're going to talk about two of them. The first one was Santa's Letters, which
there it is.
Can you synopsize this, Count?
All right, Santa's Letters is a bunch of people in their 20s and early 30s playing children, and one of them is a little boy.
Well, wait. They're also playing adults.
Okay, they are also playing. Okay, adults play every role. So there are no actual children in this movie. That there's like a family and they're adults.
The only way you know they're kids is if they're like wearing a backwards baseball cap or something,
Right,
and
or
like
overalls,
and acting sort of stupid.
Yeah.
But every actor in this film is the same age, with the exception of Santa, who is on the cover here.
Santa, the Italian American Santa. There's a little boy. He writes a letter to Santa, and then Santa just keeps an eye on him all year round. It seemed to be.
They sort of become pen pals.
Yeah,
a
they
little bit.
deviate from
Santa writes
Christmas.
back, which is crazy.
Yeah, this isn't a Christmas movie. It's like a year-round movie about Santa.
Right, it's Christmas, and then like it just keeps going. Like it goes to August or something. Like he originally writes to Santa. He's like, please, Santa, stop my family from yelling at each other.
Right, they're fighting.
And yeah, so they just sort of become friends. And
I kind of recommend this movie.
Yeah, I thought this movie, like the fact that everybody is played by an adult, it makes it feel like a play,
Right?
A little bit. And there's something, as I was watching this, there's something about the way the dialogue is like written and edited, and like the pacing of it that feels a lot like Clerks.
Right.
Like
it's like if Randall wrote this.
Right. Like there's like a weird cynicism, and like it feels like a movie that the character Randall from Clerks would have written, like a shithead who has watched too many movies from suburbia. It's really weird.
Definitely see that, and it reminds me a lot of the Clerks animated show, the brief run, kind of that weird feeling to it.
Yeah.
Randall got a little bit more characterization there, so kind of.
I'm not sure how you see this movie.
It's on Tubi.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's on Tubi. You can check it out, right? I mean, don't check it out now. It's not Christmas, but
well, you can check it out now.
This isn't a Christmas movie, so you can check it out now.
Watch it year round. Half of the year. There's a lot of weird like clip art in the movie. Like every time Santa's involved, there's weird green screen clip art, and I haven't really ever seen a movie that is made like this. It's just,
well, let me look up what year this came out. Santa's Letters. This movie came out in 2000, okay? And it looks weird and strange and bad, and it kind of is, but this is all Tubi is now from movies of like 2023. They're all like this. They're all these it's kind of shitty movies.
It's ahead of its time in terms of like shitty digital filmmaking.
And yet somehow it looks better. It has to be shot on DV or something, because it looks better than some of the Tubi crap out there. Not much better, folks. Don't
right. Don't
talk about a pure
don't
picture
get it twisted.
Quality, like the depth of field type of thing. Not cinematography.
There's no film grain.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to be fooled. I don't put it in the pile. Save it for next Christmas. It's
a good one for your college friends. I know Captain Raz loves for us to mention it for all his college age buddies out there.
I wasn't going to say it.
So you have a friend in college.
You already said it's on Tubi, so that's the other.
Yeah, it's on Tubi. Sponsor us, Tubi.
The next film was A Karate Christmas Miracle, a Kenneth Del Vecchio production. This one, maybe don't put it on the pile.
I hated this.
This is a criminal endeavor, and I think that the guy who made this film should be in jail forever. And everyone who's in the movie maybe also for accessory.
Even Eric Roberts?
I don't know that Eric Roberts in this movie, or was that footage of Eric Roberts?
Well, they probably just had him film it from wherever he is. He does that a lot, where you can pay him a little bit of money, and then he'll like turn on a camera,
right,
and then film lines and send them over.
Well, okay, so this is a semi-sequel to a movie that I had seen the cover of. Which I don't remember exactly what it is. It's called like Joker Aurora Theater Massacre or some shit. It's
what?
like that's what it is. It's a movie based on the Aurora like Batman shooting, and it came out like the week after or something, like
fucking
like
awful.
Deeply tasteless.
Yeah.
So this is a semi-sequel to that. The premise of this movie is that one of the characters from that movie, who was killed in the theater shooting by the clown, is not dead, but he is trapped somewhere. Like,
oh right, the father.
The father, who is played by the director of the film, I believe.
Well, I'm looking at IMDb because I wanted to look up the clown movie, what it was called, and it's saying a woman directed this, which would explain a lot.
Thank you. So, the plot of this movie is that the child of the dead dad, is learning karate, and he's having like David Lynch-esque visions of Eric Roberts giving an evil speech in a movie theater, and like somehow he's connected this to save his father from purgatory. He has to learn karate in a very specific way and get a black belt before Christmas. And
yeah,
and part of this is that he has to stop talking. Like, he takes a vow of silence at one point. And there's this whole like subplot with his mom, like realizing that family is more important than her corporate job, which is like designing logos for coffee or some shit like that. Like, I don't
remember that at all.
Like orange juice. It's like she like designed a logo for orange. It's some weird thing like that. And she gets involved with a psychic. And they just sort of like go on this. It's just rambling and nonsensical. And
the psychic who is a professor.
Yeah, she's a law professor.
Right, and she
in
kept
community college
denying that she was a psychic at first.
Right.
Yeah.
But so the child, he gets his black belt, and at the very end of the movie, the dad walks in the door on Christmas and he says, "You saved me, I'm back." And then the credits roll. And it's like,
I think you're underselling. He literally is handed the black belt, and the dad like comes out from behind a curtain, like in the same room.
Right, like he walks in from the screen door, I think.
Right, like seconds later. Also, we did mention he's getting the black belt, like an at-home training program, and
he's got a class. He goes to the class, sometimes.
Does he? I thought he was doing it at home.
I think that he may have got the black belt at home.
Okay.
Like he tested for the black belt in his living room or something. I don't know.
I was very confused by that. I thought he was like homeschooling for karate.
But just like there's this whole subplot about the father of the guy who runs the movie theater chain is like donating the movie theater to his daughter, whose name is Aurora, when he died. Like,
oh yeah, it's just more tasteless shit.
It's really weird and really tasteless. I think somebody in the chat said while we were watching this that the director is like, he was a lawyer, but he got disbarred for like repeatedly bringing up politics during cases or something. Does that sound familiar?
I don't remember that comment. I'm telling you, it says a woman, Julie Kimmel. She directed this. She's to blame. I don't know. Let me look up who this guy is.
I mean, maybe he just produced it. Maybe
right.
Maybe
Could be
maybe
Charles
it's one of
Band
maybe it's
using a
like
woman's name again.
Puppet Master 4 situation.
Okay, the guy to blame. I think it's this guy, one of the writers, Ken Del Vecchio.
Right.
Joker's Wild. Clowns are no joking matter, which he directed or wrote or something. And Aurora is in that too. Is it the same actress?
So yeah, I think a lot of that
shared universe.
I think a lot of
here.
that stuff is just reused footage, probably.
Yeah, and Eric Roberts is in that, and there's a clown, and that's just.
There's also a Wrestling Christmas Miracle, which is probably just the same movie again, but about wrestling. We haven't seen that one, but yeah.
I don't think we're going to unless MDB shows it and forces us to watch it.
Don't put this one on the pile. This one, put it on the pile that's on fire.
Yeah, this one's really, it's not even a curiosity watch. It's just terrible. It's kind of sickening. It's bad. Really, I'm trying to come up with better terms for this, better words to describe this movie. It's bland. It's nonsensical. It's incompetent, which is sadly, I'm trying not to use all of our adjectives up because a lot of these are going to describe a movie later that we're going to be talking about. So I'll end it here.
It's tasteless, criminally tasteless.
Yeah, it is. Folks, I don't care where you fall on the political spectrum. You don't name your characters after like shootings.
And don't don't tie your weird pseudo Christian David Lynch Christmas movie into a shooting either.
Yeah, don't make a shared universe based off a public shooting. The hell is wrong with you?
Right. So, out of Christmas, but still shown by MDB. We watched The Peanut Butter Solution.
We sure did.
Weird Canadian children's movie. I think I'd never heard of this. I think some people have, maybe Canadians.
I had heard of it, but I hadn't seen it.
This is a film about a small child who is poor, but he's so good-hearted he gives his grocery money to winos, they call them. And dream logic in this film is the best way to describe what happens.
I like this movie.
I kind of didn't.
No?
No. So the kid gives his grocery money to the winos, and then the next morning his friend comes over and says, "Hey, do you remember those winos? The bank they hang out at burned down, and they're all dead now." So they go. The two kids,
they go and check it out.
Yeah, they go after school and they do some urbex. They climb into the building, and the main kid is scared by something so bad that all of his hair falls out. And the next feels like 45 to 80 minutes of the film is about him being sad that he doesn't have any hair.
Well, has no hair. They try and make a wig for him. He goes back to school the next day, previously bald, then with a full head of hair, and then they immediately yank it off his head and point and laugh at him.
Yeah, just he's a sensitive soul, this poor kid. He doesn't want to go to school without hair. Luckily, finally, the ghosts of the two winos that he gave money to appear in his kitchen and give him the recipe or hair growth formula, which is like dirt, bug shit, dead flies, toilet water, an egg, and some peanut butter. And don't put in too much peanut butter. It has to be like 2 teaspoons or whatever, but like it's not sticking together, so he puts in a lot of peanut butter, which I guess fucks up the formula because his hair grows back too much and
keeps growing.
He gets rapid growing hair growth. And so his buddy puts it on his pubes at this point, which is a little weird for a kid's movie to even acknowledge that.
Did I miss that?
Did you? You must have.
I guess.
Yeah, so his little buddy is like, oh, this stuff makes hair grow? I'm going to put that on down there. Hurry things up. and like, there's a scene where he's like, they're leaving school and they're like running across a crosswalk, and there's hair coming out of his pants leg. Like, there's long hair coming out of the kid's pants leg.
I definitely missed that.
They kind of like, that part of the story sort of goes away after that scene. So there's also an evil art teacher who's named the Signor, and he kidnaps the main kid and starts making brushes out of his hair, which is still growing indefinitely. He starts cutting his hair and making paintbrushes out of it. And when you use the paintbrushes, it makes a magical painting that you can walk inside. And there's like an evil sweatshop where he's making a bunch of kids from school make these brushes out of the kid's hair. And like, this part of the movie felt like 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T for me. Have you ever seen that, Count?
I have not. I have not heard of that. I saw it in the list and I don't know what it is.
It's like an old, maybe late 60s, mid 60s. I'm not sure. It's a Dr. Seuss film. Like, Dr. Seuss wrote the movie. And it's about like an evil piano teacher who's like enslaving kids to play piano in his evil, so this part reminded me of Dr.
Is that any good?
I saw it once when I was a kid, and I don't really remember much about it. Like, I think my mom put it on because it was like, oh, look, this is about this kid doesn't want to go to piano lessons either. It's like, Mom, it's your idea. You're making me go to piano.
Have you seen The Boy with the Green Hair? Because that's what this reminds me of.
I have not.
It's a boy who parents get killed. He gets really sad about it, and he wakes up with green hair, and everyone makes fun of him for it.
What is it? I mean, is it similar to this, where there's really no logic behind it?
A little bit, yeah. And it kind of has the same tone. I think it's much older, from like the 50s or 40s, even. But this, I've rated. That's usually I give my ratings. We'll get into that shortly, but just 1.5 out of 5, because I think this is a good curiosity watch. The tone the entire time is kind of flat, which makes it perfect to watch. It's just like kind of boring, but in an interesting way.
Right. It is. Yeah, it is flat, and it doesn't really seem to have a moral or a point. Like, none of the stuff that seems like it would be the theme of the movie really is played up, you know? Like the kid sort of has a dead mom, but she's just on vacation. So like they can't do anything about that.
Yeah, she comes back. Why even write her out of the movie?
It doesn't. They don't really. They don't really like say anything about. Oh, you should be generous to winos. you should be creative, because there's this like conflict about like the senior is always saying, do not draw what you imagine, draw what you see. And like the kid's dad is a painter who just like paints bullshit that doesn't sell.
Yeah,
there's no good lesson in this movie.
There's no lesson, which is why I feel like
it's just
a small
weird
kinship towards us. It's as if I wrote it, and then like like Cal, what's the moral? I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like he goes on this little journey. I don't know.
The most interesting thing about it, I think, is just it has a complete dream logic aspect to just both the way the story flows and the way stuff functions in the movie. So.
We talked about Letters to Santa or whatever, which is adults acting as children. This has the little girl acting like an adult.
Right, his sister has to take over because the mom is on vacation.
I'm remembering that part.
Again, a normal movie, she would just be dead.
Right.
But
or divorced. I don't know. There's no reason to bring her back at the end other than some sort of shoehorned happy ending. But I still say watch this. Now, don't watch this with your college friends.
Well, if you got some of that herb.
Yeah, okay.
You and your college friends could smoke up. Get fucked up and watch Peanut Butter Solution.
Could be good high.
I don't know. It's fine. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
I definitely didn't love it, but I think it's worth a watch, a curiosity watch if you're at the bottom of the barrel.
I found the narrative frustrating. And the pacing frustrating. But,
yeah. Oh, I did too. I'm not saying I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I don't regret watching it. How about that?
It doesn't. The poster we have up kind of makes it look a little magical. Like the budget is very low. It was a TV movie, so like it's not really very magical.
No,
it's very
not much
low.
Of a horror movie, and it's not. It is on Tubi. I'm looking at it.
Nice.
This one did look nicely shot, at least for a
TV movie. It looked fine. Again, later there'll be a
right. There will be another
worse
one that
looking
look
TV
fine,
movie,
which is why I'm kind of thinking. I'm looking at screenshots. I'm like, it doesn't look that bad.
You got to be a little generous.
Yeah.
So
I say give it a shot.
Getting into the stuff me and Count watched on our own time. We watched Go For It with Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer. Probably my second favorite movie of theirs.
God, I love these two.
Can you synopsize this film?
Oh my god. I could try.
Do you remember?
We watched it on January 1st at like 4 a.m. for me.
Oh, right.
Mortis said, hey, do you want to watch?
This was after Muscle Memories, right?
It was.
And I was just like, fuck it.
I'm like, well,
I forgot.
I'm drunk. I'm still awake, so yeah, let's put it on. So from what I can tell, Bud Spencer gets out of jail, meets Terrence Hill, who's just skating around.
And he's a ventriloquist. He's able to throw his voice.
Yeah, he can throw his voice. They meet up at a diner or a restaurant, and they're not friends. They don't know each other. Terrence Hill starts a fight in the bar in the restaurant, and then he and Bud Spencer escape. I can't remember their actual names. I'm going to keep calling them Bud and Terrence
That's fine.
Hill.
Yeah.
They get into
one of their names is Roscoe, which I only know because I've listened to
that is?
No.
Oh, because of the song.
Because the song.
There's a good song.
Great
Of course there
soundtrack on
is.
this film. Like a lot of these movies have a great soundtrack and a great theme. I like. What's the other one? Watch Out, We're Mad,
Yeah.
which
Dune Buggy.
we spoke about.
Always in my head.
That movie just replays the Dune Buggy song 20 times. Like this
like
movie,
king of my buggy.
this movie has a lot of like different good songs in it, but it also has a good vocal theme, which just explains the first half hour of the movie.
Yeah, the two of them get arrested for stealing a truck. Then they trick the police into either letting them out. At some point, they trick the police that they're
Terrence uses his ability to say, stick him up. We're gonna get you.
To escape the police.
Yeah, they fool the police into thinking they're all being held up by mafia.
Right, and then they steal like a briefcase.
They get a briefcase from somewhere. Oh, right.
They get it from the plane.
They do a little social engineering. They get on a plane for some reason, and they go up to the
sort of secret agent there.
Yeah, they go up to the counter and they're like, "Hey, we're those guys. Oh, you're Mr. X and Y. Oh, yeah, that's us." So
yeah, they get roped into.
It was so easy
agent.
before 9/11.
It was. We were a real country back then in Italy. Then they become secret agents and they get sent on a little mission. Becomes a bit of a Bond movie.
And who is the director of the CIA in this film?
Fuck, the director of the CIA is it's the Big Lebowski.
Yeah. Played
As
by
in
the Big
older
Lebowski.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. I was trying to think of the actor's name.
Oh, that's all you need.
But it's the bigger Lebowski.
And they go undercover as oil barons, and they have a big golden car.
Yeah, with a bunch of horns on it.
There's a little. Terrence gets involved in a little romance. Bud gets involved in a little kung fu fight. I think that this movie is better than, like, in terms of the plot and the comedy, this is better than Watch Out, We're Mad, but like Watch Out, We're Mad has better action scenes and more of them.
I can't say for sure. I mean, I agree. I like Watch Out, We're Mad more than this, but I'm both I gave this 5 stars, and I haven't rated Watch Out, We're Mad, but I would also give that 5 stars. Pure entertainment.
It's very funny.
There's this hot henchwoman.
Yeah.
Goes around beating them up. Not really, but she is there.
I feel like the finale of the movie could have been like a little longer.
It's a little weak.
Like they get on the boat of the evil guy.
Okay, can we talk about that?
Sure.
They go into another restaurant and they go through a portal and a toilet and they end up on a boat.
Yeah, they go to a pizza restaurant and the men's restroom somehow is like they
it's like a Super Mario pipe.
Yeah, they disconnect the men's restroom and then move it to a boat every time somebody goes in it, I guess. Right. And then they're on a yacht, and there's like a running. This is completely out of sequence, but there's a running gag with all the CIA guys keep fucking up the actual CIA, and there's this running gag where whoever it is will say to Bud and Terrence, I'd appreciate if you didn't put that in your report. That thing that I fucked up. like it goes from the lowest guy all the way up to the Big Lebowski throughout the movie.
And they're like, no problem.
Yeah. It's I don't think this is on Tubi.
But I doubt it. They have some of their westerns, but not much else.
Yeah. Highly recommended. Great
Yeah,
soundtrack.
and
Very
watch
funny.
out, we're mad. Just more Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer. Put them in your life. They're funny guys. They're good guys. We still have Terrence Hill with us. If you want to come on the show,
I wonder if he speaks English.
please. He might speak some English, right?
Probably some.
Enough for a 10-minute conversation. Tell him how much we love him.
The next film, Yokai Monsters Spook Warfare, aka The Great Yokai War. Now, as we were watching this towards the end, I realized that this is the one that I had as a youth. So I had seen this.
Shit.
But
so you haven't seen the first one?
I haven't seen the first two. This is the third one, isn't it?
This is the second one.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. I haven't seen the first one, but this is Japanese film, like 69. Is this from 62?
Sounds about right.
This is a film about a Babylonian vampire is resurrected in sort of like. Wait a minute, 60. When did Exorcist come out?
70s.
So this was before Exorcist, huh?
Yes.
I was thinking like, oh, this is kind of like the Pazuzu thing in The Exorcist, is like that.
It's very Pazuzu.
Yeah, but it's like it couldn't have been inspired by that, I guess. So this ancient vampire is resurrected, travels to Japan, takes over a feudal lord, and then it's up to the local yokai, the Japanese ghosts, to beat him and get him out.
He travels to Japan immediately. He gets freed and zips on over to Japan.
I guess he stops on a boat. There's a little bit of a voyage of the Demeter going on, and then the boat takes him to Japan.
But like he has his mind set to go there for some reason.
Yeah. So like I said, I must have got this on VHS probably in like 97-ish. And at the time I didn't love this movie. I still don't love this movie. I think it's fine.
I don't love this movie either. I think
you're more negative on this than me.
I am more negative on this because they don't do anything with the monsters. There's not.
They have a big fight. They all kind of do their power. It's yeah. I mean,
they all look interesting and they look good and they're shot well and well lit. We talked about that a little bit when we were watching it. Like it looks great and the designs look great. They just don't do anything with them. It's kind of like a Ghoulies. It's not as bad as Ghoulies, folks, but like it's.
a lot of time is spent on like the humans.
Yeah.
And like it's hard to care about them because they're not cool ghosts and they don't do anything. But
I think if they gave the monsters slightly more of a personality or problems of their own, or they had their own storyline instead of just kind of being the cleanup crew in a way.
Right.
Or as like a solution to the problem. There's something there. But again, I'm thinking about this. For 1969, it's fantastic given the year and all the designs and everything. Right, this is after Ultraman came out, right? Definitely after Ultra Q.
Yeah, I think.
Just
for
all the amount.
I mean, it would have been right around exactly the same time as the original Ultraman.
We don't get a lot of yokai movies. Wow, this has been remade like twice or something. But we don't get many of them. There's not many movies of this era featuring this many monsters in it with this type of tone.
Speaking of the tone and the remake, like, weird thing about this movie, like the big artist of yokai in Japan is Shigeru Mizuki, who did Gegege no Kitaro. I always feel weird saying that. But they're like, this is not explicitly based on that, but there's a storyline in that where a foreign monster attacks Japan and all the yokai have to defeat them. And there's been like a weird amount of scholarly writing on that about how it's like a analogy for the occupation of Japan and stuff. And
I like that. I do like that plot, and I like the metaphor. I love the idea of a vampire or some other Western type of monster attacking Japan, and then Japan's monsters has to defend it.
Yeah. But the remake like is not only more explicitly based on Mizuki's work, he's actually in the movie as the Demon King, I think it said on IMDb.
Cool.
So that like I want to watch that. That's from like 2005, the remake. And it takes place in modern time, I think. So more, I don't know. Just it's an interesting movie. Like, what happened in the first one of this? Were the yokai just kind of bouncing around doing goofs?
They were bouncing around. I remember them being more malicious. They were bad guys, which is why I was confused that they're kind of heroic in this. Now, I might be remembering it wrong, but I thought for sure that they were like evil. Like they weren't good. They were kind of killing people and messing around.
This isn't really a horror movie. There's a little blood, kind of Hammer horror style, red paint blood.
Yeah, which I liked. And you only saw it kind of at the beginning and then at the end. The rest of it was a bit bloodless and kind of strange that it didn't know what kind of movie it was being, to me anyway.
There's always kind of the threat that the vampire is gonna permanently kill the yokai, but like he never does. You know, he's
right.
like you're a ghost. You think I can't kill a ghost? That's trivial for me, and then it just doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen, and they keep saying we're immortal. We're immortal.
Yeah, so it's hard to be worried, really, for anybody.
Yeah. Even one of the characters you think is dead, and then isn't. Sorry for the spoiler, everyone, but
yeah, not a fantastic movie, but it does, as Count said, it does look really good. Like you would kind of expect this kind of thing to, oh, it's cheesy. Look at their rubber suits. Like it's shot really well and like dark, like lit. It's all lit in such a way that it just looks good.
It looks very good.
None of the effects look like hinky or stupid. It all looks. It looks good. It's visually good.
If you like monsters the way we do, if you like your Ultraman, your Godzillas, and your Kaijin and Kaiju, and you like samurai movies of the era, especially if you like samurai movies of the era, I would recommend watching this because it hits a combination of both of those. But don't expect some crazy samurai action that you would get in a samurai movie or Ultraman movie or show. It's kind of like different.
It's a spectacle more than a thrill, I guess. I don't know.
But it's definitely tokusatsu. So if you like tokusatsu stuff that's older, which I do.
That's Japanese for special effects.
It is. Which would mean even Doctor Who is tokusatsu.
Oh boy. Check it out if you want.
Yeah. Give it a little watch.
All right, I got to step away for a second. Do you want to start
Explain
your
myself? Sure.
Your 500 movies in 500 days challenge?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm CountPupper. I started a Letterboxd account at the beginning of this year. Everyone was saying, Count, why don't you have Letterboxd? Well, I made one, okay? And I'm dating myself, but this is just for this first episode. Hopefully I'm not dating myself every episode we do this year. But it's the 16th of January, and I've watched 18 films this year already. So here we go. 500 movies in 500 days, folks. Gonna be doing it. Yeah, exactly. Adult Swim in the corner here. 500 movies, 500 days. Can I do it? Can a little dog in a vampire cape watch so many movies in so many days? We're gonna find out. Where does this putting me up to this? I didn't agree to this. I don't know about this. I don't know what's going on here. He's just saying Count's gonna watch 500 movies. Okay. So far I've just happened to watch a movie every day or more. So we'll see if I can keep up that pace. Will I hit 500? We'll see. We'll find out. But what I've watched that we haven't covered here on my list, which is on letterboxd.com/CountPupper. Give me a follow. Check me out. Creating Rem Lazar. I gave half a star. We can read some of my reviews too here.
Half a star out of 5?
Yeah. Because I couldn't give it a 0.
Jeez. I didn't think it was that bad.
My review for Creating Rem Lazar was already regretting keeping track of what I watched in 2024, and that was my 3rd review for the year. That's what I thought about that. Purple People Eater, we watched that at MDB's. I gave it no stars, no review. That's my first no star, no review.
Okay.
I watched The Rover, 3.5 stars from 2014. It's kind of a Mad Max 1 type of movie without the flamboyant gang members. I'm quoting my own reviews here.
Okay.
I would recommend that one. Batman's in that. The newest Batman, he's in that. He kind of plays
Ben Affleck?
No, the even newer.
Oh,
Robert
right.
Pattinson.
Right. I forgot they. Yeah.
Kind of plays like a slow kid in Australia during the kind of apocalypse, but it's not quite the apocalypse. Like I said, it's Mad Max 1, so it's on the brink. You know something bad's in the process of happening.
So it is also in Australia.
It is also Australia, yes. I watched Mad Love. I watched Frankenstein. Good movies. Watch them. Terrible movie I tried to watch. The Abomination from 1986. Some of these I got from Sect, Buddy Sect here. Recommending movies on Letterboxd, so I'm checking out what he's watching. And that one was terrible. The Abomination. Now, Sect didn't watch that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I was gonna say, was that a recommendation?
I don't know. I'm just saying
Haven't
that
heard
like
of
some
that
of these
one.
are. So I don't want to put words in his mouth. Hallucinations was. I remember that being one. That was kind of cool in 1986. Ultimate homemade movie. The one you'd want to make with friends and your siblings when you were a teen. A very thin plot, but a ton of creative effects and scenes that come with being young. And The Evil After sounds a lot like the Alien Baltan. There's like a bunch of laughter, and it just sounds like oh, 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 over and over again throughout the movie. There's a few others. You can check them out yourself here on letterboxd.com/CountPupper to see what I've been watching, and we'll see if I hit 500 movies in 500 days.
Now, what is it about Letterboxd that makes it appealing over something like, let's say you're entrenched in IMDb. Let's say you've done dozens of hours of work trying to bring IMDb's Gridman data, up to speed, or like filling in WMAC Masters plot synopses, like what is it about Letterboxd that is appealing?
Well, I thought you were going to say, what if someone spent hundreds of hours in a document on their own filling out movies?
Oh, that's my own thing.
Yeah, Letterboxd is appealing because it's kind of a social media platform just for movies.
Does it have shows?
I don't think it has shows.
Okay.
But it did have, like, that little Shin Hedora movie that I showed that was like 25 minutes long on my channel? It had that, so I could review that and add that.
Hmm.
So it has some things that are
Weird.
online only, that if they qualify as a short film or a film, they do have some shows. We're hearing, I'm gaining intel from the chat here from MDB. Some shows on there, but it's a social media platform. You can follow people. You're encouraged to comment more. IMDb got rid of the comment system, their message board system.
Probably for the
So
best.
yes,
I think they should get rid of
Letterboxd will
the
too.
list system where all the people are like hot men Hollywood, and it's, you know, Mark Ruffalo and shit. I don't.
Some
all
of them
those
are
lists
ridiculous.
that always show up on the side of everything you look at.
I like them for IMDb because I can type in best movie under 90 minutes, and sometimes I'll get really good stuff.
Or on IMDb, you type this?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Like,
I didn't know you could do that. Just has a little recommendations.
Someone has made lists, like great
okay.
movies under 90 minutes.
Okay.
So some of the lists are good, and then some of them are.
But Letterboxd also has lists.
Letterboxd also has lists, which I'm doing one. Movies I watched in 2024. And it is just more, if you're looking for like-minded movie people, which I try my best to avoid movie people, but I figured I'd dip my toes into this year until I get tired of it. I might get real tired of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
For now, I'm trying it out.
I did this like a few years ago, and I lasted like a week. I don't know. I was like, I'm gonna watch a movie every day, and I'm gonna try to draw something from that movie every day. And I watched Compañeros, and I drew Jack Palance smoking weed, and then I watched The Hidden, and I drew what's his face, that hot guy Hollywood. What's his fucking name?
Hidden, the bug movie?
Yeah.
With the throat?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking up Kyle MacLachlan.
Kyle MacLachlan, yeah. And then I kind of just stopped. It's hard.
Kyle MacLachlan.
It's hard to watch.
Should have been cast as the Question 30 years ago, but they didn't make it. It's hard to watch a movie every day. I don't know if I actually will, folks, but it's happenstance.
Sometimes you can watch 2 movies and then skip a day. You ever do that?
Yeah. I'm going to be allowing myself that. If this challenge is real and happening, I'm going to give myself buffer days by watching 2-3 movies at a time. Speaking of, we watched Moron movies and more Moron movies, which I gave 4 out of 5 respectively.
Oh yeah, I forgot to pull an image for Moron movies. You mentioned that.
I just figured we could talk about them now because I'm looking at our list and we technically don't have them written down, but we're talking about shit that I watched and showed.
So Moron movies. I'm trying to ease back into this after going to the bathroom.
Yeah, sorry, I've been talking a while and not letting you talk.
I would give you a break. It's so, like, was this released as a movie, or is this some kind of compilation thing that someone did?
It was released as a movie, as a tape. You could get Moron movies and more Moron movies. As 2 VHS tapes.
What's the guy's name?
Len Cella
or Cella, yeah.
Yeah, Cella. Recently died back in this past December. Rest in peace. So
these were short little films, very quick, like 10 to 60 second little film vignettes of like comedy stuff. And some of them were used on Johnny Carson, which I think I may have. They would have been on in like prime me watching Johnny Carson time.
Absolutely.
Because as a child, my household all loved Johnny Carson. I thought that Johnny Carson must be the funniest person on the planet because everybody in the audience laughed and my family laughed. So had a lot of influence on me as to
The
what like
reruns have been
comedy
on TV
is.
here. He's hilarious.
He's hilarious. Has a style, and this Moron movies has a style. Very dry, very kind of like I don't. It felt like when I was growing up, my dad had a a shed that like he kept his golf cart in, and there was a calendar in there that had this exact kind of humor where it's like kind of scatological but not really, and like kind of dirty but not really, but and kind of sexist, like just this weird kind of.
Yeah.
If you were real
weird
dumb, you
riding
could
the
say
line.
boomer humor, but we're smarter than that. But it's just short little clips, little gags, like a generally very dry, just a guy looking into the camera and like dryly saying a joke. It's like sometimes there's a prop, and sometimes there's like a little thing made out of clay. I thought it was. I laughed a lot watching this.
I laughed a lot too. It's TikTok, by one guy doing it himself, or Vine. I tried TikTok last year, folks, during the fall. Can't get into it. It's a little over my head. I think I'm a little too old for it, but I'm not too old for Moron movies and more Moron movies. My write up for this is just a few sentences. Type of thing my old relatives would have had on the 90s. A very nostalgic trip of a long gone world. Take care in the next one, Len.
Yes.
Some of the people on Letterboxd. Now I'm going to be talking about Letterboxd because I'm in it. So I'm going to be calling you fuckers out on things that we're watching. Like this coward Callisto, who only gave it a half a star, and said, immediately from the first frame, I burst out laughing, nearly in tears, and had to pause because I couldn't stop. It's so stupid. Moron Movies is the perfect title. And then goes on about how much they love it, but then only gives it half a star. If you love a movie and you're enjoying it, you can give it more than half a star. You fucking coward.
See, this is the thing that I feel like would get me about Letterboxd. Like I don't. I would get too pissed off at like people. I don't really want the social aspect.
I'm mad at this person now because they write this huge write up on how much they love it, and then they're too afraid to admit that it's like enjoyable or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this meets a quality that gives me pleasure, but it doesn't meet some weird abstract idea I have about what gets more than half a star. In a correct sense.
That being said, something we're going to talk about did get half a star from me on Letterboxd. It's coming up soon.
Well,
so,
it's not this next one.
It's not.
Movie we watched. A movie I've had on my hard drive for a long time and hadn't got around to watching. Crazy Thunder Road by, what's his name? Sogo Ishii, aka Gakuryu Ishii. Are you familiar with this director?
I'm not. I looked up a little bit about this, that this was kind of either his first or second movie that he made during film school. I don't know him other than that.
I think it's like the third thing on his IMDb, but I think this was made as a final film school project.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. It's from 1980, did I say?
1980.
So I have seen, of this guy's other movies, I've seen Electric Dragon 80,000 Volts, which I don't remember much about, but I remember liking. And I remember it's like Tetsuo, if Tetsuo was fun to watch.
Is that a later one?
Have you seen the
later one?
It's from 2001, Electric Dragon.
Are you talking about Tetsuo,
the Iron
guy
Man?
Who becomes like all metal.
Yeah, there's
disgusting.
there's
I have seen that.
Tetsuo the Iron Man and Body Hammer, and then Tetsuo the Bullet Man. There's 3 of those.
I've only seen the first one.
Which are I've seen 2 of them. I don't know which 2. Like they're like good movies, but they're not like fun movies. But Electric Dragon is kind of a similar theme and tone, but also just like more fun.
I'd have to check it out. I liked this a lot.
This guy also directed Halber Mensch, a concert movie for Einstürzende Neubauten.
And how was that?
I haven't seen it. I'm 90% sure. I've seen a concert movie of them, like back from Disc Netflix. I don't remember like what it was, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't this. And I do want to watch it because they are one of my favorite bands. And I just think it's very interesting that I found out that they collaborated on something. But this movie, wow. I really like this movie.
Yeah.
This is a movie about Bosozoku, which is the specific type of Japanese punk that rides motorcycles and are tough guys. Part of the reason that I had kept this on my hard drive for so long is like I tend to click around a movie I download and like look for something that stands out, you know? Like I try to find a scene like, oh, look at that scene. This scene looks crazy. This scene looks
something to look forward to.
Yeah. Like or something that I can sell somebody else on, like, right. Oh, you want to watch this movie? It has this part, you know. But like there's not really any parts in this, like this movie doesn't really have any single parts that are like, whoa. It's just like it just maintains this constant level of being really fucking weird and cool for the whole movie. So like,
yeah,
I had a hard time seeking to anything that looked weird or cool.
I had mentioned that the peanut butter solution's kind of flat tone the whole time. This is like the opposite of that. This is kind of cool the entire time. Visually, the music is incredible in this movie.
Really good soundtrack.
Good soundtrack and sounds and just like everything.
Yeah.
The audio, I don't know if he did that himself or whoever did it, but all the audio mixing and the soundtrack and just everything about this is it pinnacle of cool.
There's a lot of really slick stuff in this, and there's also a lot of rough stuff, like particularly early on in the movie. There's a lot of weird, like the 80-yard lines are like maybe not lined up properly. Like somebody will say something and then there'll be like a quarter of a second of another line. Did you notice that?
Was this the movie we watched where the captions were slightly off?
They got more off as the movie went on. Okay.
Yeah, I
like somebody would be saying like
the dubbing being
hey
off.
Get over here you weak coward, but you know, like it would have a little bit of another word, and it's like some of the camera work is a little rough, but like it all I don't know. Don't let that put you off.
Watch this. The credits are amazing. The opening credits in the neon.
Yeah. Like everything. As I was thinking about this morning before we have done the podcast here, it feels like every scene kind of has like a style, you know, like there's the first scene, you jump into the movie. It's a hard movie to get into, I think. What did you said something kind of interesting about this while we were watching it or after? Like it resists you or something. You said something.
Oh yeah.
Like it holds you at arm's length or something.
It does. It keeps you at arm's length for getting too invested into it. It seems to do that deliberately. I feel like
part of that might be cultural.
Yeah.
You know, just because we're not Japanese and we don't.
Yeah, I mean,
know some of this stuff.
I can say something ignorant right now, and I will.
Okay.
Is this accurate to how Japan was in the 80s at all? Like, was there a gang problem with motorcycles, or is this all like a fabrication?
I mean, it's a really big. I don't. I don't want to say trope. I don't want to say meme, but these were the words that are coming to mind because we live in 2024. You see these punks, these like pompadour punks who ride like souped up motorcycles, and they have sort of like an imperialistic, like nationalistic kind of like aesthetic to their whole thing, like it must have existed at some time, because they're so prevalent in like a certain era of media, like video games, anime, movies, like they're basically 1950s American greasers run through the filter of post World War II, like I read a thing that said this is the only movie about Bosuzoku, which can't be true.
Someone I've seen,
cuz it's the only one I've seen, and it's one of my favorite like aesthetics and like themes. I love these guys whenever they show up, but like, I know that there are like 60s and 70s exploitation movies that kind of have this same theme, but and same style of character. But anyway,
I also have written down that each act was different, like completely. Like there's 3 almost distinct acts.
Yeah. The first thing that keeps
No, go ahead.
The first thing that keeps you at arm's length is like, you don't know who the main character is.
Yeah, you're not really introduced to any characters. It's just happening.
It's
almost like a documentary.
Right. Like they're talking. If you look on IMDb, I think what it says on IMDb is like, a gang leader, Ken, is right, dating a barmaid and wants to break up the gang. And then like the first thing you see is
ain't about that at all.
Right. The first thing you see is the gang like, oh, what's Ken doing? Are we gonna kick Ken out? Ken wants to break up the band, and then Ken shows up, and then it has this really fucking cool scene where Ken is talking to the barmaid. It's like a back and forth conversation between them, and you don't hear it. It's like silent movie subtitles.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Between them. And it's like, who's the main character? And then at some point, this little shithead named Jin shows up, and it turns out Jin is the main character. Like, he's immediately, when you meet him, he's like, you fuckers, you fucking cowardly bitches, we're gonna keep riding, fuck you bitches. And like, because of the way the movie's been going and what you're assuming, it's like, who's this fucking guy? Like, what's going on here? And then he's the main character. He becomes the hero.
I'm gonna say something about that conversation at the bar, and then something else later on. Do you think that's intentional, or do you think they filmed it? He messed up the audio, so he decided to go that route.
I think it was intentional. I think it's like what I was saying, like how every scene kind of has a theme. Like there's the early action scene where it's sort of the theme is like there's gonna be a lot of sparks. It's dark. Right. It's dark, and every like impact is gonna shoot sparks everywhere. And then there's a conversation scene where it's like a silent movie, and then later there will be a conversation scene where it looks like a soap opera porno.
Yeah, they do a conversation scene again where you don't like see anyone actually talking. They're just kind of panning around, but the lips aren't moving. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Or like they're panning at the feet. So I was also wondering, like, is this another thing where like he just had this raw footage and he decided to insert a scene here? Was it planned to be shot this way? Because he's a film student, So
right.
I didn't know.
It feels like film school in that way. Like he's trying a bunch of shit,
Right.
but it all works.
And it's cool.
It's all cool.
This is really good. This is really good. I don't know. I felt like I was going to say more there.
Yeah.
Really...
I very much I gave this movie a 9 on IMDb, my old person social media.
Give it the times. We're on Letterboxd now.
Yeah. There's stuff. There are descriptions of this movie that say it's cyberpunk.
Yeah.
It's not really.
It's Mad Max. It's not.
It's just punk. Like it's kind of like Repo Man, you know? Like it's punk. It's a punk movie in that way.
Definitely not Mad Max. Definitely not cyberpunk.
Yeah.
But it is good.
The director made cyberpunk later. But
we can like things that aren't Mad Max, folks. It's okay. Just because someone's on a motorcycle and has a shotgun doesn't mean he's Mad Max.
But yeah, the Count was talking about there's three very distinct acts. There's the motorcycle rebellion act. There, I guess we'd sort of spoil here a little bit, so
we'll spoil as far as the act structure goes.
Right.
Maybe it'll help you digest the film a little better.
The second act is the main character and a bunch of his friends get recruited into a far-right nationalist paramilitary organization, which I was thinking about this. They must have, I don't know, historically, but like in the world of the movie, they must have been with the government because they had guns and they could use guns. So
yeah. When we were watching this, I asked Mortis, like, do you think this is just another gang and they're based around pretending to be in the military? But it does make more sense if they're actually affiliated with them.
Like I thought it was like a brown shirt style thing, like just some paramilitary thing that the government let hang because they were, far right and for order, but like they did have guns. So I don't think the Japanese government, I don't know. We don't know enough about what was going on.
We don't know enough, and it's,
but
I'm too ignorant to know if it's, how much of the foot is in reality and how much of the foot's in fantasy.
At no point, one thing I thought that was interesting about this is that at no point do they represent the Bosuzoku as a stepping stone to the Yakuza. Like there's no Yakuza in this movie.
No.
And like every kind of media that I've seen that's like high school Japanese punks, like it's just sort of taken for granted that they will either die or move into the Yakuza. And like they didn't go that way at all. Like some of them became cops, which I thought was really cool. Like
they got a job.
Some of them get straight jobs.
Like I have to be up at like 6 a.m.
and they're still like, fuck, that's the bastard we saw from before. Let's kick his ass. Oh, let's go get chicks. Like they're still kind of acting the same. Like it acknowledges sort of like, overall this movie like has a really great like overall tone of like desperate masculine aimless rebellion, and like
absolutely
some of the people go straight and some of them don't, and none of them end up happy. But then the third act is like a violent rebellion by the main character against the right wing organization, whoever the fuck they are. Which is sort of hinted at here on the cover.
The guys with guns.
But it's
which don't Google this because you'll get spoiled. No, I'm looking at things like having seen the movie.
I really like this movie. I don't know. Very, very recommend this film to anyone I know who's smart.
Yeah, I'd recommend it to anyone who has a passing interest in film, especially if you want to make a film of your own. Watch this. We joke a lot about watching cool movies if you're in college, but the whole thing about masculinity is true, and probably you're at a good age at that point to watch something like this, to think about your life and what you're doing with it. And it's good for me now. What the fuck am I doing with my life? Am I aimless like these punks? Maybe. Am I gonna end up like Jin? I hope not. Maybe I do. I don't know.
Some similarities to Knight Riders that we spoke about on the podcast.
Yeah, not giving up the dream in a way, because this begins almost in a well, you haven't seen The Warriors, have you?
No, I did read, a bunch of people are like, oh, it's the Japanese Warriors. So,
well, it is not in a bad way, but the concept of all the gangs uniting at the beginning is a bit like The Warriors, and I'm using that positively.
Yeah. Still need to see The Warriors.
But it's also like giving up the dream. You're even doing that is giving up the dream, and you're rebelling against that. If you're going to be a biker gang and a punk, you want your independence. You don't want to have some order.
Yeah.
So they immediately rebel against that.
Check it out. Movie. It's not on Tubi.
No.
It's on Blu-ray, I think. I think the first time it got released in English was the Blu-ray.
And then listen to the music after, because it's really, really, really good.
It is. It's some guy managed to get all of the. It's mostly like two different artists, but it's mostly just like late 70s kind of rock and roll. There's a really good reggae style song in one of the better scenes of the film. Slow motion
the
scene.
Ending
credit song, really good. It all just has a very good sound and attitude, and almost every scene has its own song, to go.
Yeah.
There's a lot of songs. Great. I love this movie.
The soundtrack, which is split on YouTube in two parts, is like 80 minutes long. And I said to Morris, how's that possible? And he's like, you bozo, there's a song every scene. I'm like, you're right. And it's all very good. Check it out.
So, the last movie, two movies, I guess.
Yeah.
So, the last two movies, the main theme of the episode, adaptations of a manga called Drifting Classroom, which is in probably my top 5 Japanese mangas. Count hasn't read it.
Haven't read it, but I did watch 2 adaptations of it, so I don't know if I have to read it now. I know what it's all about.
It's by Kazuo Umezu, who we talked about on the podcast before, I believe. That you did that horror, like two story horror anthology thing by him,
right?
Anime thing.
Which, check those out. I forget what they're called, but they're worth watching.
It's called like The Anime of Kazuo Umezu or something, isn't it? It's like the movie of Kazuo Umezu or something. This is a story about a Japanese elementary school that gets teleported into the future by a time slip. The people left behind don't know why. They at first assume it was a gas explosion, and as time goes on, they realize something else happened. And the situation in the future, he says without having read Lord of the Flies, is Lord of the Flies-esque. It's just the kids just go through hell, and the adults left in the school they all go insane. Like kids are choked and stabbed and bludgeoned, and they die from disease and the elements and like future shit. It's very dark. A lot of childs dying. Very dark. So I love it. But the first we're going to talk about, this isn't the first adaptation we watched, but the first one we're going to talk about, which I had never heard of until I was for this very podcast trying to find a poster for the original adaptation. We watched Drifting School, a 1995 made-for-TV American adaptation of Drifting Classroom by a Japanese director.
Yeah.
This is really weird. Like,
Bubba Smith, football player.
Yeah.
Billy Drago, Western star. And Drake
best
Bell.
known as John Bly from Briscoe County, at least to me. Billy Drago. And Drake, Drake
is the little kid there. He looks about 5 years old throughout the movie. You don't even recognize him as someone who recognizes Drake Bell.
From the Sweet Life of Drake and Josh or something? What did you say it was?
Drake and Josh. I feel like I'm saying that weird. On Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I'm not. It was his first acting role. This movie looks like a live action part of a Power Rangers episode. Like, it has an incredibly cheap, shitty look to it. Like, it looks really, like, even for a TV movie, this looks really fake and bad. And like the acting all has this, like, everyone seems like an extra from Power Rangers.
I thought it was made by Saban, and I looked it up, and it's not, because it feels just like a Saban.
It's very
product.
So in this one, in this adaptation of the story, there's a space satellite. Like, it starts in the Pentagon. Well, no, actually, the opening credits of the movie in the background have panels from Drifting Classroom. And then
he's reading it.
As the movie starts, the young child, what was his name? Jeffrey or Jerry or Billy Drago called him Bobby at one point, which wasn't his name.
What is his name?
We'll just say Drake, I guess.
Yeah, we can just say Drake. I'll look it up.
So Drake, in the beginning of the movie, he's literally reading Drifting Classroom, which, like, I don't know what. I didn't know it had been released in America at that point, but he has like a big volume of the original manga, and he's just Kenny. Yeah, he's flipping through it, and so there's a space satellite, and the Pentagon. A guy who looks like Terry Bruges Hiplo is the guy in the Pentagon, and he's like, "We got to shoot down that space satellite. It's gonna fall on L.A. There's no humans in L.A. Just a bunch of cockroaches." Like, there's this really awful CG of the space satellite, and it's like, NASA says we gotta shoot it down. So they use a space laser. They use Star Wars, which has never been tried.
Yeah, and they say it by name, Star Wars. I guess because you're mentioning a better movie.
Right.
You're a piece of shit.
Didn't they?
I know it's also the name of a real space
Oh,
program,
that Simpsons. Okay. I was
Star Wars. Yeah.
Sorry. I was thinking, didn't they mentioned another movie, and I was thinking of the Simpsons reference.
Yeah, the Simpsons tapes.
Yeah. But
like Star Wars, the program was defunct by now. Had to have been. It was not even ever made. It was just like theorized.
You can't get a satellite down once it's up there, so they're still up there. So So they're gonna
Okay,
shoot
no,
down what?
I'm gonna, stand by when I'm wrong. Okay, this came out in '95,
Mhm.
and Star Wars was renamed in '93. So I guess it's close enough to like be excusable. Okay, folks. I thought it was like done by then, like dead and buried.
It was
Okay.
all Reagan's gorilla dust.
Yeah, rest in hell. Sorry.
Fuck you, Reagan. So that's not the only thing. The other thing that's happening is Billy Drago is a evil cult leader with hypnotic powers who is being moved to jail simultaneous with this stuff. And as they're moving him to jail, he hypnotizes the cops, and his other evil hypnotized followers show up, and he gets out. And he ends up at the school. So, they're shooting down the space satellite, and then like, it's not really clear what's going on because they vaporize the space satellite, and then like, the Terry Bruce Hiplo guy is like, raise the power. We need more power. No, we can't raise the power. We don't know what's going to happen. No, raise the power, damn it. So they shoot a laser. The laser hits the school as all these things are converted. Oh, also, it's a high school, and Kenny is going there to watch a basketball game.
He's gonna watch his cousin play because his cousin's in California and they're playing a team from Vermont or some shit.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
There's the good guy team has a big M on their jersey. They eventually said what the M stood for. I don't remember what it was though. And then the other team has a big V on their jersey, and they say, I'm pretty sure they said Vermont.
They do say Vermont.
Which I've never heard of like interstate high school basketball, but I don't know.
Interstate cross country, like it's
they're in LA.
At that point, yeah, you might as well do like inter-country because there's Japanese people in this. So
right,
you're gonna have just a team playing against a Japanese team. If you're going to just do that,
the Vermont high school basketball team is like all Japanese kids with a Japanese coach.
Right. Like I don't know. I don't know why.
So the school gets shot by the laser. They get teleported to the future. Kenny has a psychic connection with his mother. Were you laughing?
Do you have the GIF ready?
Oh. Let me see. Where did I put that? Yeah, Kenny has a psychic connection with his mother. Billy Drago sneaks into the school. He starts making new minions. He kills the principal. Like as we were watching it, I said it's convenient to have both a rival basketball team and an evil cult leader, so you don't have to make any statement in the movie about human nature being murderous and shitty. Like,
yeah, you don't have to have a breaking down of people who know each other.
Yeah,
like a classroom of a small community.
You just have this like artificial conflict built into the structure.
Instant rivals, because like it's there instead of just how we break down
differences in this film to the original and other adaptations. There's a lot of driving in this.
Yeah, well, there is. Can I also just say, like, well, if you're gonna list more, go ahead, and then I'll.
No, you go ahead.
The world is there. Like, okay. From what I know about drifting classroom, drifting school, the world is just the school once they get sent into the future. This is like everything's kind of still there. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like it's not as
exactly
sandy, not as sandy.
Right, like it's basically just like a flat in drifting school. It's basically just a flat desert that you can drive on, and also, there's cars with gas. In the other adaptations, like the world outside the school is like unbelievably hostile. You could never like, not only could you not drive on it, there are no
you don't
cars.
want to be outside, from what it
You don't want to be out in it, yeah. But
Yeah.
like they constantly are just taking cars out into the desert to do shit, which it's just a really weird script thing, you know. And it, like, they could have walked. I don't. It diffuses a lot of the tension. Kenny has asthma.
Yeah.
You remember that?
He has asthma. He should have went to the doctor. And then you think maybe he's gonna have an asthma attack, and oh my god, they're in the future, and how are we gonna get him an inhaler? It doesn't come up.
It never comes up. They run around on rocks for about 45 minutes.
Yeah, he's running around the desert with
there's
no water.
There's no point where it's like, my asthma. Like, nothing. No. It's like, why is that even in the script? So the first thing to say, oh right, there's a fat kid.
There is.
Who's an inventor, and like the first time you meet him, Paul, yeah, he's like, hey, I'm inventing a laser, and it's even cooler than my hologram girl, which we never got to see the hologram girl. I just never realized. I wish that had been in there. But he's inventing a laser. And that's Chekhov's laser. So at some point, Billy Drago, there's a big conflict with him. He shoots Bubba Smith, the top billed man in the movie, football hero Bubba Smith, just dead. For some reason, they end up on a chase in the desert, and they run on the rocks, and Kenny starts having his psychic episode, communicating with his mother. And this is in both the other film and the original manga. He's like, the main kid gets in a conflict, and he's like, "Mom, please help me." And his mom says, "I need to help my son." So she smuggles a weapon to basically the site of the school. But in this, they're not at the school.
Right.
In this, they're in a desert on rocks. So Kenny realizes, we're in the park by my house, so I need to ask my mom for a weapon in the park by my house. Which, like, this concept is already getting like long in the tooth, and like it's already a big reach. So she takes a can of mace to the park, and in the past, and then in the future, he finds the can of mace. Doesn't fucking work. The mace doesn't work. It's all rusted and old. What was the point of this fucking scene? Like, why?
The point of the scene was to show that she could do it, and then later on, she knows to put the medicine in a more protected box.
So the mace doesn't work. They're saved by a Doctor Who creature. Both of the adaptations of this have like the weird Tom Baker Doctor Who Technicolor kind of effects. You know?
Which I like normally. Now I'm not so sure.
Right. What do you think about this creature?
Oh, I thought this creature was terrible. The little Biollante thing.
It's like a vaguely humanoid shape.
Huge hands.
Has huge hands, a big old eyeball in the middle, and then like a weird mouth head.
A brief part at the end, or was it near the end? When they have the medicine and attacks the student, and he has the bat, and he's like holding it off at the door. And it looks good for about like 2 seconds.
Right.
And then like, in the movie actually looks like okay. Like the shot and everything. This movie's shot like, don't watch this, by the way.
It's on Archive. It's on YouTube.
Not even as a morbid curiosity. Don't watch this. This is awful. This is god awful.
So,
yeah. But it looks like a real movie for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
A little split scene there. And it's like, okay. And then it's not ever again.
So
it looks okay there.
On the note of this being a real movie, I like.
What do you think of the monster though?
It's fine.
Okay.
It seems like they kind of tried to do the one from the manga and like be faithful to it.
I haven't read it yet, so I don't know if I will. I haven't read it.
You should. No. But I am being a real film. I am very interested in what the fuck happened. Like, how did this get made? It's so bizarre and so shitty. And so, like, why? Like, who wanted to make an adaptation of a 1972 manga for TV, for American TV in 1995? And why did they do it so bad? And why does it have the cast it does? Like,
it was produced and directed by Japanese people.
Yeah. The only evidence I can find of this existing is like when Billy Drago died, which I assume must have been a few years ago. The mom in the movie tweeted, "Had fun making a ridiculous movie, Drifting School with Billy Drago. He was a great guy." And like, that's all I can find. Like, I wish I could find something else. Archive.org at some point had all the issues of Starlog pulled. I feel like if I was able to comb every Starlog from 95, there would be something in there, because there usually is with this type of thing. But like, I can't do the research, unfortunately.
I did some very cursory searches last night after watching it. There's not much about it to learn.
Yeah. The guy who directed it has done other movies, but nothing anyone's ever heard of. There's like some baseball movie. Yeah. I'm sure he's just kind of like work for hire kind of like average type director.
Seemed to have stable work up until about 10 years ago, if he's still alive or not, or whatever he's doing.
Just
it has named actors in it, like, not the most famous people, but people who've done other things.
Yeah. Mainly like, Billy Drago.
Billy Drago, the woman from Texas Chainsaw, like Henry Silva, and Bubba Smith. Not the most, not top tier people, but people who have acted before this and then after.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's not good. It's real bad.
No, don't watch again. Do not watch this. It's boring. It's bad. It's, again, not even interesting. It's really boring. We kept saying that.
Yeah.
This is just boring.
Just badly made. I don't know. Badly written, badly made. Like, it has the energy of something you would see on Sunday TV in 1995 and change the channel.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate solution is they find a nuclear reactor. They hook up Paul's laser to the nuclear reactor. And it only has enough power to send one little person back in time. So it's got to be Kenny. They shoot Kenny and send him back. I've read Drifting Classroom front to back twice, and I don't exactly remember how it ends. So I can't.
So you don't know if a kid gets sent back or not?
I'm pretty sure that a kid gets sent back, yes.
Okay.
Like in the original manga, so it's an elementary school in the original, and the main character is an elementary school kid, but there is an even smaller kid who like goes
Buddy.
with him, and Buddy in the In the other movie, in the other version, the better version, there's a 1987 Japanese adaptation of Drifting Classroom, and it's just called Drifting Classroom, and it's really good.
It is good.
I thought. I don't think it's as good as Crazy Thunder Road if we're doing that, but
no, but it's. I enjoyed the Japanese version.
It is
Drifting School. Don't watch. Also becomes president, which is stupid.
Oh yeah,
Japanese version.
Right. So in the original and then in both movies, there's a thing where in the future, right outside the school, there's a monument to the school. Like they, because they made it in the past and then they find it in the future and it's all like broken up and covered over with sand and shit. But in Drifting School, Kenny is like, how come I'm not on here? I'm here. Why didn't they put me here? And then they send him back and the monument gets more words on it. And it's like, hey guys, it's me, Kenny. Now I'm president of the United States. And I hope that you guys can make a good future.
Sucks. I'm gonna say one more thing about it before the Japanese version.
Yeah.
I wrote this down. I wrote down a note. Okay.
Okay.
So I could remember I wrote this last night. And I kind of mentioned this to you.
Okay.
But I fleshed out the idea more.
Okay. Go ahead.
Drifting Classroom is the perfect movie for a sociopath to use to get out of a relationship. If you're dating someone and you don't like them, but you're too cowardly to break up with them, then put this on and say it's a favorite and that you watch it all the time.
Drifting School,
you mean? From your life so fast.
Drifting School.
Yeah, Drifting School.
To be clear.
Not Classroom. Sorry. Drifting School.
Yeah.
So yeah, just put on that shitty movie and just be like, yeah, I watch this all the time. If you want someone out of your life. And they won't stick around.
So the Japanese version, Drifting Classroom. From now on, when I say Drifting Classroom, I'm referring to this. This is another one I had on my hard drive for a while, and I jumped around it, and I thought my impression of this movie from jumping around the file was that it was so wildly off in tone from the manga that I kind of didn't want to watch it. And there are parts in here that are pretty wildly off in tone from the original manga, but like overall it's actually very close, and I think it's a very good film.
I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. I don't know if I'm getting sentimental in my old age, but like there were, some little moments in this version of it.
So
also some weirdness. You're saying that
weirdness, yeah.
The original manga is not like this hodgepodge diverse classroom. It's all Japanese kids. And then in this, it's a little Japanese kid who was raised in America back in Japan and in a Japanese school, but for international students. Weird setup.
And they're older kids in this too.
Right.
So right out of the gate, like in the real world, in the normal world in this movie, there's a lot of matte paintings, and they're not done in a way that's supposed to be realistic. They have like this kind of pastel storybook look to them. So like the real world, I'm calling it the past, the present. Right. The present in this movie like looks idyllic and like fairy tale kind of. And it has that tone too, because the kid goes to school and it's this international high school with like kids of all races. The movie is 90% spoken in English. It's a Japanese movie. Almost all of the lines are in English. Very few of the actors are good at speaking English in a way, in a traditional movie way. Like even if they do even if English is their native language, they're kind of not that good at speaking for a movie. It's really weird. And then the whole movie is like subtitled in the upper right in Japanese.
The other version, you couldn't even understand them because the microphone was so bad.
Right.
Also, there was. Hold on, we got to go back and talk about the fucking buzzing sound the entire first 40 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Like most. So, jumping back to Drifting School, the score. We can go back to the score on Drifting Classroom, but whoa, you all right?
Yeah, it's my microphone.
The score on Drifting School is a sentimental MIDI. MIDI that sounds like it's from Samurai Showdown.
Yeah.
And then just like constant Buck Rogers noise. It's like the first 40 minutes of the movie, once the laser disaster happens, it's just like
the beeping. It's awful.
Just like nonstop in the background. It's maddening.
Yeah, I had to bring that up because
but
the music in Drifting Classroom is good.
It's by Joe Hisaishi, famous, Japanese movie sentimental guy. There's kind of two modes. Like there's a sappy orchestral kind of thing, and then there's another kind of style that's like really similar to the parts in the Nausicaa soundtrack where they're like in the toxic jungle, like that kind of synth, like weird, scary 80s, 70s synth. Count was saying maybe I'm getting sentimental. I was crying a few times in this movie, and it may have just been because the soundtrack was so similar to Nausicaa, which is so emotional to me. I don't know, but
that's fair. I didn't cry, but it was a tearjerker. Especially the mom and son stuff, and just like the hopelessness.
Yeah, that's something Drifting School sort of got wrong. Is like it's pretty important to the story that the main character and his mom had a conflict, and then can spend the rest of the story feeling bad about it and like coming to grips with it. They don't even introduce that concept until halfway through Drifting School. But right out of the gate on here and in the manga. But so the main character Sho, he goes to school. The school is like a fairy tale, multiracial high school. Everybody's friends. Everybody's beautiful. They go to class. Their teacher is a young woman getting married. The class is so happy that they just spontaneously break out in song. There's just a little musical number.
Yeah, they start dancing.
And then the event happens, and they go to the future, and a bunch of them get fucking buried in sand and die immediately.
Yeah. They go from doing the Lotte Fits commercial dance to just like choking and dying on sand.
Yeah. So, how'd you feel about the special effects in this movie?
I thought they were passable. I had written down that I liked the visuals, and I thought the creatures looked kind of cool. They look like they're doing what they're supposed to do.
The creatures?
Yeah, well, everything, all the effects.
Like it's. I mean, there's a lot of, I think, really obvious I don't know if you would say blue screen, green screen, chroma key, whatever you would say. It's really obvious, and some of the like camera work around that is a little weird, but I think for what the movie is, it looks really great. Like overall, there's a lot of great models and sets and colors and shots. It's a good
very
looking
visually interesting. I thought the effects are passable. They're not, oh my god, these effects are terrible, but they're not going to blow your mind either. But they are very pretty.
I didn't realize this before for the end of the movie. This is directed by the same guy as Houseu.
Right.
Famous Japanese. Why is Houseu so big, by the way?
Why
And
is it
why
so
don't and why do we
popular?
say Houseu? Why don't we just say house? Because that's what it's fucking
Because
called. Is it like the
people like to say
ring,
Hausu because they say
the Ringu thing?
Hausu. I don't know. People just like to say it. I've always heard that people call it Hausu from like high school onward. Which I didn't actually watch until college, but I knew that it existed. Some like famous, crazy Japanese horror movie.
Yeah,
I think that's just what it's known for,
yeah,
as being the weird Japanese horror movie. I guess before like the 90s and alts kind of take over of thing like Ring.
yeah.
It was House, and
For
then
some reason the college that I finished at, they had a house poster like in the English department. I, I never,
strange.
yeah, but yeah, I don't love that movie. It's fine to me. I don't know. I don't really understand. It seems to be very, very popular among a certain type of movie person.
It is. It's very popular among some annoying movie
Like
fans.
that being said, like why isn't this bigger? You know?
Right. They might not know about it, but it does feel similar in tone to House.
Yeah,
Just
that's where I was
not
going with this whole side.
right. Yeah, if you like House, definitely watch this.
There's like
if you like Housu.
a zaniness, but also a darkness. Right?
You know,
To this,
we say Housu because we don't want to get confused with the other House movie.
right? Which sucks fucking ass.
I think it's fine.
I hate House 1. I think House 2 is like a lot better, but I really
I get them
hate
confused,
House 1.
so I would have to like read the synopsises to tell them apart.
Well, House 1 is the one where he's the Vietnam vet.
He shoots the lady.
He kills his wife,
Right.
who ends up not being his. Like, that's one of the things that pisses me off. We're talking about a different movie now. That's one of the things that pisses me off about House, is that his wife comes to his house and he fucking murders her, and then it's fine because it wasn't really his wife, it was a ghost.
Oh, it's a
like give the movie some teeth. Have him kill his fucking wife. Like, you know?
It'd be cool if he did.
It's a horror movie that is like afraid to be a horror movie. It has some really good like creatures in it, but like as a horror movie it sucks.
I still like it for the creatures. Admittedly, I haven't seen it in a long time, but that's one.
I've seen it like 3
watching.
times, and like every time I see it, it's like, God, do we have to fucking see House, man?
I'm gonna say it on the podcast. We don't have to watch House or Houseu for that matter.
Thank you.
We don't have to. I've done my part with Houseu. I've seen it 4 times in my life, and it's, I'm never like excited to watch it when someone wants to watch it.
Right. But Drifting Classroom, I was saying I had the impression that it had a tone that was not dark like the manga. Like there's a character who does not speak Japanese. he's like the guy who delivers the kids lunch or something, and he's got a dog. And he goes nuts and just like starts holding hostages, and like all the food is mine, and he pours gasoline under a door and sets somebody on fire on the other side, which is straight out of the manga. And that's the scene in Drifting Classroom where Sho gets the help from the mom. And he's like, "Mom, I need help, and she throws a baseball bat into the into the hole. And then he just has a baseball bat and he hits, it's not like narratively it's more magical, but it's also more satisfying because he uses it.
Right.
It actually works.
More like an instant time portal psychic connection
thing.
Now, in this movie, the dog. I'm gonna ask you a question. He has the dog, and then they find a dog skeleton, and then they cut to the past, and the dog's there.
Well, the dog jumps out of the school as the time slip is happening.
So the dog's in two places at once.
Well,
what happened?
It's the future. So he finds the dog is in the present, but then the dog dies at some point and then puts its skeleton somewhere where its master can find it, I guess.
Is that what happened?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's what happened.
So the dog plants itself to be found 200 years later with a pile of bones. Okay.
And yeah, there's a small kid who comes along for the ride. Show just runs into him on the way to school. There's a little alien. They run into a little alien that just pees all over everybody.
I was gonna say a little pissing alien.
There's kind of like a non-explicit connection between the creatures in this and water, like their pee. You know, the little guy's pee seems to be benevolent, and then like when the big evil crab creatures do die, they seem to be like shooting water out of their wounds, but they never really say like, oh, now we can drink water, right? Like
I think he drinks it at the end when the little one grows up.
Right. When he gets
I think they finally make the connection.
But
by the way, this like scenario, you know, a lot of movies you might want to self-insert or be like, oh man, it would be cool to live that. No, this sounds horrible. To be sent like hundreds of years in the future into a deserted waste. Like, even we keep talking about Mad Max. Mad Max would be more preferable to like, yeah, I'll go cruise around as Mad Max, and this is just like hopeless, awful, would not be fun at all.
There's no food.
Yeah,
there's nowhere to grow food. There's no water. There's no rain.
You're stuck in school with your classmates. It sounds horrific.
There's weird diseases. There's weird creatures. Just like, it's incredibly hostile. And there's a point in the movie, probably pictured here on the poster, like a group of people go out and they go out and they have a little adventure. They come back to school and there's like 50 crosses. They're like, where is everybody? They all died.
Yeah.
Like, everybody fucking died while you were out.
Because they go away and they say they were gone for a day and it was a month.
Yeah.
And they come back and everyone's dead. We're fucking... Okay, do we want to spoil something that happens?
What?
When they're on their little adventure?
The time slip?
Yeah.
Sure. Spoilers.
One of the kids takes a drink of time water and he melts into a skeleton. It looks incredible. It looks really good.
There's this whole sort of ongoing, like, the school gets sucked to the future in like a time beam, and then like in the future there's like more time beams basically, and they find one, and there's time magic. Time has time magic tricks that will fucking kill you if you're a foolish child.
If you're a foolish child, to take a sip of it and it melts you into a skeleton. It looks amazing.
Like, in spite of the weird, seemingly very lighthearted tone right off the bat, like, the movie does not pull any punches. But like, it still throughout it maintains this like fairy tale kind of like tone, you know, which is not present in the original.
Right. We were worried that they weren't going to start killing kids, and they do. This is better than Housey, by the way. I'm going to put that out there.
I think it's
watch this over House. Even the other version does kill kids, which is surprising.
Yeah.
Which did not feel like that type of Saban crap would do that. Right. But they go through with it. And they have kids walking around with guns and shooting other people, and It's dark. If you're gonna, I guess, adapt this, there's no way to do it in like a clean, friendly way.
Right. Oh, that being said, right, I forgot to mention it. As I was looking on Wikipedia, which does not mention Drifting School.
Well,
It does mention that there was a Japanese TV series called The Long Love Letter in 2002, which is a loose adaptation. I couldn't really find anything out about that. So,
well, folks, maybe we'll have to check it out after I actually read it, though.
I don't know. It's probably some romance bullshit. I don't. I don't like those J dramas.
It's got love in the title.
Yeah. There was it wasn't mentioned in the same paragraph, but it said something about there's an animated, I think, American movie called like my whole high school fell into the sea or something like that, and it's like that's inspired by the original as well. So it's a very, very widespread, for as few people as have heard about Drifting Classroom. It's influential, I guess.
I'm looking that one up. My high school in the sea.
Like my whole high school fell into the sea or something. It's something like that.
My entire high school sinking into the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2016 American animated teen comedy drama film. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I recommend. I think the manga is like 10 volumes, so you know it'll only set you back 200, 300, 400 bucks probably to pick the whole thing up. But it's a good story. I think that the Japanese film is very good, very true to it in its own way while being its own thing. Drifting School, don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
Leave it alone.
Did you read 14, the spiritual sequel manga?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
That's by Umezu also?
It is.
I didn't know that existed. There's so much.
There's so
it's
much.
A big,
20
it's
volumes.
a rabbit hole. Jesus.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Anything else you want to say about this?
I say check it out. My final line of my review on Letterboxd is overall finding hope and a way to go on in a hopeless situation type of film, which is what we need. We all need a little hope sometimes, folks.
Yeah, it just well, I guess one last contrast between the films. It ends on a hopeful note. You believe that the kids in the future are going to build a new society. In Drifting School, about half an hour before the end of the movie, Kenny says, "I had a dream that you guys all were starting a new society and you were farming and you were..."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, Kenny? Where were you?" "I don't know, like in heaven or something, maybe looking down." And it's like, and then they never like show that happen. They never like show that even begin to happen. It's just like, you just have to remember half an hour ago, like, oh yeah, Kenny said they were going to do that. Like, it's so fucking shitty. Bad movie.
Don't watch that, but do watch Drifting Classroom.
There's two sets of twins. There's a Japanese set of twins, and there's an American set of twins. It's weird. Just a weird movie.
A woman takes a shower at sand.
Yeah. Lot going on. Read the manga. Watch the movie. Watch Crazy Thunder Road. Watch Go For It.
Watch Go For It. Watch Frankenstein. Haven't seen Frankenstein, watch it. I'm just looking at my list. I'm gonna make.
Follow CountPupper on Letterboxd.
Yeah, follow me on Letterboxd.
The official Watch Moron movies. The official remove film from tray Letterboxed presence.
I'm there.
CountPupper.
Don't watch Purple People Eater.
Right.
Bad. Sorry.
I sort of only got like the last 20 minutes of that, so
Not good.
I don't feel
Don't watch that one.
I don't feel confident speaking on it.
I didn't even review it. I gave it no stars. I just added it to my watched on 2024 list. I said nothing about it. Watch more on movies. Thank you all for joining us today.
Raptor again. If you've listened, apologies.
Much love.
We'll get you back on. Love you, bud. Have a good time, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Where's Discord? There it is.